Hi, this is Miss Lisa, the sewing lady of Pinellas Park, Florida, USA. As you saw, that's my glasses. Now, I'm blind as a bat, except when I get my nose right down to it. For all of you who've been messing around and thinking, oh, I don't need an eye exam. Well, I'm here to tell you, yeah, you do. Every 2 years, gotta. Mine is 4 years old. Bad Miss Lisa. But there's been issues, okay? And you really need them because the more you sew, the more you need to see exactly what you're doing. Because there is going to be hand sewing where you have to look at it. And believe me, when the color of the thread is the same color as the fabric, yeah, it's a necessity, especially if you got to pick some stitches out. Okay, gonna get down to business. Today, we're gonna remove what I got left, and we are gonna get around to finish cutting this dress out and getting it going. Okay, we are now down to doing the back. Now, as you know from the last time, I changed mine a little because I want to go more straight dress instead of a flare. Hey, I'm allowed to change. So, I like starting from the bottom and working to the top. I know everybody's got their own thing. I usually just do where it's most comfortable. For me right at the moment, this is most comfortable. So, we're going to cut her up. And because this fabric, I love this fabric. It was given to me, and I don't know who it was because it was donated, but I thought it was the neatest looking fabric. And I love blue. Blue is a good color, especially on me. I know. So why is she wearing red if blue's a good color? Well, because red's good too. Now, no, I don't have bad scissors. I got bad aim. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret. You're going to all laugh because Miss Lisa's a sewing lady. And guess what? I can't cut a straight line to save my soul. Even if you crease it, I got a problem. But you know what? There's just one thing that makes it a little more forgiving, the sewing machine. If you use your sewing machine properly, you can get away with a whole lot. Now with my pattern, I decided to cut it a little lower because the back line here was just a little too high when I tried mine on. So I had it marked and we took it out. Alright, the only thing that's left on here is these guys. Oh, let's not forget the other one. You should have 3 of these. You're going to have a back armhole. You're going to have a front armhole. This is the back. Where'd it go? I know, neck facing, back armhole, front armhole. That's right. Gotta remember all this stuff. It's a lot to do. Okay. I'm not doing my back neck facing, which I admit that's what I forgot to tell you. You're going to have your back neck facing on here. Because mine, I have to modify quite a bit because all those little pleats I put in, I didn't take them off the pattern because I kind of like the way they look. I mean, they're different. They add a little snazz to the dress. And so I'm just going to leave them the way they are, and then I'm going to incorporate them into the sewing. And anyway, it'll help you guys learn more about darts. You may not use the dart portion, but at least you'll get an idea of what it takes to sew them in, and that fun part of repinning them. Yeah, that part's a joy, especially when you've done funky ones like mine. And most of this cutting stuff goes along pretty easy. Mostly because you can be a little bit sloppy with your cutting on this portion because it's when you match everything up, you'll see if you need to make trim-ins. Like for me, I know this section right here is going to be taken out a bit. You may not know that part yet, but I know me. Once you start sewing quite a bit, all this stuff, you'll say, yeah, I can let that go. This, maybe I should wait until I get to that part. That's part of being learning the craft. There's a lot of things that if you guys decide to go with a commercial styling, and I will get to that stuff, you will notice there's a lot of things that even what we're doing now, we may not do then. And why is that? Because when you do commercial sewing, you want to be fast. You want to be able to get a dress done in no time flat. If you decide to do just personal seamstress work for people, the longer it takes you, really the less you're getting paid for it. So you're going to really want that. One thing left for mine. Take this out a little bit. And mostly because I think all of you know you don't need it that much for your seam allowance. At least not right there. And we'll show you a couple of tricks to use too. Alright. If you're like me, they're all cut. Well, you know, except for that one piece, but we'll get to that. Alright. Here's all the scraps. Not too shabby when you think about it. Alright. To make sure we... Oh, there's the biggest scrap. Wow! Alrighty. Now, David made a point earlier. So this is a just in case moment. I'm not going to say any of this will happen because I'm a bit of a freak on some things. I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to be the Lady of Pinellas. I'm probably, well, I can't say for sure, but I'll be here in Florida still. Not too far from where I live. Okay? But he'll pan around and let you know why I've been so frazzled. Take a look at all these boxes, and that's not all my boxes. There's more out there, and I'm moving 100 sewing machines. Do you know what it's like explaining to the movers? No, you're not moving a house. You're moving 100 sewing machines. I heard a deep intake, and how would you like to do that? And then I had to explain cabinets versus non-cabinets, and you can't stack them. There's all this stuff you can't get through. And then there's this little portion called my sewing room. All my stuff in here. This is all my sewing room stuff. This isn't my personal stuff. I don't have any personal stuff in here. This is all sewing room stuff that's gotta go. So, it collects on you, it grows, it's got something going on here. I know it does. But, thought I'd tell you, we're going to do a bunch of videos to try to cover the time that I'm going to be gone. I might miss 1 or 2 weeks. That could happen. I got to make a trip to Buffalo. More sewing machines. What else? And hopefully I'll have bought a house by then. Wouldn't that be cool? And then you're going to see a lot of room because I get to use the house the way I want to. Very important. Okay. So much about me. Alright. Front of the dress. We didn't do any darts. So, don't have much to do on this except take all those pins out. In my case, I have to make some decisions because see where I have this here? That's where my shoulder ends. And as we can see, we have a big piece here. I gotta decide if I'm gonna put a pleat in up here. Probably not, I don't like that. Maybe a dart. Or just cut the bugger right off. You know what? I'm probably gonna cut the bugger off. I don't like to do all that extra work. Would you say I'm a lazy seamstress? Yeah, maybe. But this is what's worked for me for quite a while, so I think we'll go with it. So there it went. Whoops, missed a level. That doesn't usually happen to me. There. Another EDB piece for that. And you want to know what? All those little scraps, they're not getting thrown away. Because I like to do what's called crazy quilt. And it takes neat fabric. And that's the kind of neat fabric it would use. So it's going to go in my stash. And I have one that I'm working on. So you just might get to see it being used in there. I might even do a little show of what I do with some of my stuff. Because I don't still make dresses, you know. I got other hobbies. They're all sewing hobbies, I admit, but they are also not just the sewing machine. For those of you who have told me I don't have a sewing machine, believe me, there is a lot of stuff that doesn't include the sewing machine that I do. I embroider, which I think most of you probably still do. If you don't, take it up. It's very calming. Something I'm just learning is called hexagons and how to put them together. I joined a group called Hexies, and they make the most beautiful things with them. I never thought I'd see such beautiful things like that. Alright, we unpinned that one. Now, we have this one, and this is the one where I have darts. Alright, I know, the rest of you don't have the darts, but I do. So, I'm going to take some pins out, just so I can get at that area. Now, there's two schools of thought on how to handle this particular deal here. One of them is using, let me see, somebody moved. Oh dearie. Yeah, something moved. Oh, I see. Excuse me. We had the wrong dress under there. Makes sense now. Okay. Get these guys all straightened out. Alright. For you guys who haven't sewn, there are many methods for marking a dart. Me personally, I prefer using my pin. There are other methods that you can use, and because everything's packed, I don't have those methods available. But there's tracing paper that you can buy. You still can buy it, I think. I've had a hard time finding it lately. I actually got somebody's vintage bag of it. Where you stick it underneath and then you use that little thing with the pointy roller on it and you mark it that way. I don't like using that for only one reason. I have picked fabric, which means I made little marks that didn't come out. That's why I don't like using that one. There's another way where you can do the same thing, except there's this little plastic thing that they'll sell you with it, and it's got a sharp edge on it, and you just push it along and it does it. I still run into problems because I don't have two hands to hold the fabric like this, because the fabric's going to go like this every time I try doing it. And that's why I like the pin, because the pin doesn't do those things. The only thing you've got to be worried about is that you have lined everybody up, because I separated it. It now wants to not be where it belongs. And now we got it back to where it belongs. Maybe. Kind of, sort of. Yeah, we do. Alright. So, here I am. And I've got this large pleat I want to put in. Now, these two outside lines are the ones that come close. This middle line is the one that you fold it on. Here's what I do. You separate each piece. Okay, so you're doing one at a time. And I pinch where I want it on here, and then I go like this. And in this case, I actually have lines on the back. Most people won't. But I put a little pin there. Oop, just grab just a few threads. Yeah. And then I make the pin go all the way across to where the other one is. And voila, there is the top of my dart. Now normally this should be on the outside, but you know how it goes. Sometimes you make a mistake. But there's the top of my dart. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. Alright, the bottom of my dart is right here. For this one, I'm just going to put a point through, and it's going to go through both of them. You'll see why later. Okay, and then the next set that I have to really be concerned about, because I can just bring this straight down really, is when I get down to here. And again, I'm going to go all the way over to this side, and I'm going to take a little bit of fabric, and then I want to make sure I bring it right over to here. So oddly enough, my pin was right about there. I bring that together. Oops, wait a minute. Let's make sure we're not grabbing both of them. Yeah, we were. Okay, so it went across and it was about like to here. Okay. Now, if you do this right, which I hope I did, yeah, there we go. Either kind of come to a point as well. And because I did it backwards, I gotta pinch it this way. Usually when you pinch, you use your fingernails to where that mark was or where the pin was. Okay? And when you get down here, and this is why sometimes you gotta think things through a little better. You want to take this pin that's considered the bottom, and for that one, I just stick another pin in. Simple. Don't need much thought on that. And I want to make sure I'm doing this on the right side too. That's something you ought to think of too. When you're pinning stuff, make sure which side of the fabric you're using, because you can tell that there's a little difference between my front and my back. My front side of my fabric looks a little shinier, looks a little, I don't know, better to me. Also, sometimes you can tell by texture. Yep, this one is more satiny on the right side than it is on the wrong side. The wrong side's just a little rougher. Always make sure that when you're doing any kind of dart pinning, that it's on the back of the fabric. Now I can just take out everything else. All the pins come out and get all the way down. Oh, wait a minute before we do that. This is one of those bugaboos of mine, and I really gotta stop doing it because it's not good for me. When you go to cut out a dress, what did I do here? Something's not right. Okay. Yeah, maybe it is. And I'm just having a moment. Well, let's check. Okay. I forget to cut off my hems when I'm cutting out a pattern. It's a bad habit. Oh, that's where the other part of the dress is. And then when I get to that part where it's hemming, guess what? There's a mess. And then I'm sitting there with that thing, oh, how many inches did I really think I was going to do here? You know, all that stuff. And, well, why put yourself through it if you don't have to, right? That's my theory. I'll live with it. Hope you do too. Okay. Oh, and here comes that serious cat helper. What are you going to do for us today, Xavier? No, you don't want to be the holder of the fabric? Oh my! I don't know if I can handle it. All right. Now he's interested. Let's see. Can Mama cut off a kitty nose? Oh, maybe not. But I can hold that fabric down for you, Mom. Yep, I can. A little more scrap for the good old quilting stuff. Ooh, almost put that one out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we don't want to lose them. Yeah. All right, Mr. Cat, guess what? You have to move. I know, he does not like that. Your chair is the royal throne. There. See, I made him a nice royal throne over there. It's got velvet and it's got my purple blanket on it. My favorite blanket. He likes it. Trust me. Okay. Now, I've taken everything off, but guess what I forgot to do? Forgot to do the other side. So, let's just make sure. Yep. Got a piece of tape on my fabric from somewheres. That's something you want to also keep in mind. You ever get anything on your fabric, like a piece of tape, get it off before you wash. It'll make a big mess. So, what do you do if you take it all off and then you realize, pooh, I didn't do it right? Well, this is what I do. I match up where I can match up. And on this one, I can match up my armholes, which is pretty much the area you're working in. And make sure that the fabric lays where it's supposed to. Okay, so you got that and you got your straight edge there. Okay, so when I do this, gotta put this up a little higher. I know, I picked that really thin fabric and it's hard to grab. Okay, now I flip this over. There's the bottom point right there. If we grab one and leave one, we're doing good. Okay, the next point for mine, oops, put it in the wrong hole. Or I lost a pin. I lost a pin. Okay, this is where the little group is. And again, we want to make sure we're doing it on the right side. Oh, that's why we're missing one. Because we didn't go down far enough. Okay, here's one. Now one should just be a tiny little point. The next one is another one. It's the itty bitty narrow one. And because I know it's like a half of my thumb nail, I know how deep to do this one. I just got to make sure everything is lined up. That's the key to these. And probably the best way to make sure if we got it all done in the line would be to turn it and do this. Because if we flip it, we kind of know what we're doing. Well, kind of, sort of. Yeah, no. Alrighty. Get that guy over there. Alright, I made a little twist in this one just because I wanted to have that little extra zip to it. And then we have the one way up here, and that's a wide one. So we take our center point here and we mark it off here. I know you can't see this side of it, but it's just like what I did in the first one. And if you need to, I would suggest you just kind of go back, rewind, and take a look at it twice. Okay, now it's a good thing that we check this, because once my dress comes down, this wouldn't be in the right place, and we might get a little disappointed with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight out here, and I'm going to move them over because I want them to be straight. If my dart on this particular dress is not straight, it's going to look funny. Plus, I like them down the middle. I'm going to double check this guy because I got a feeling if one's wrong, the other is too. And yep, same gig. So basically I had them lined up. Okay? It's just they got moved. So I move it over, and this one put down here. Okay, I always know, you may not, but I always know that the very bottom one is going to come to a point. And that means that when you come down to that point, you're actually going to go off the edge, off this edge. A little tip for you when we go to do the darts, I stitch down and I end up going just across the pin, and then I leave the long tail. When I come just across the pin, I always come to a good point. You want to know those things. Okay, that's how you make sure your darts are the way they're supposed to. Only time you don't use that particular method is if you have a garment with what's called a fashion dart and it's curved. But even with a curved one, you always want to make sure they're where they're supposed to be. And that's really, really advanced if you're getting into those darts. I don't like to do them. They're too much work. You might want to eventually if you're a designer or want to be a designer. I don't know. Maybe I'll show you guys how to do it. But believe me, it's a lot of work. Especially if you're making your own pattern with it. A lot of thinking. Okay. So, next thing we're going to do. For me, I got the darts, but since you guys probably don't have darts, I can let it go. Alright? But normally, the darts would be done first. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 2-second break. I'm going to put my darts in, get it out of the way, unless you guys want to see me do it. Maybe you want to see me do it. Why don't we do that? Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up right here, and this is that time again. I want you to like my show. That's a thumbs up. I want you to subscribe. It's free. And then I want you to hit the notification bell so you'll know when the next video is up. There is a problem with me pinning it at the top of my Facebook group. That's not my fault. It's Facebook. Facebook, YouTube, they're having a little problem and they're pushing it off on us. So bear with me. You may have to look for this. David and I are going to try to figure out a way, but I don't know if we can, to bring it up to the top. So, you know, somebody may have to say, hey, I found it down here. Or, you know, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But it's that time again. Remember to share everything I teach you, because if just one other person learns, then we know we're spreading the word about sewing. Now, what was freely given to me, I freely give to the world. Thank you.